Welcome back to the main stage of Austria Comic Con 2024. And behind the stage we have two wonderful actors who did Gotham and a ton of other things we want to know everything about. So ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm Austria Comic Con welcome to David MAZOUZ and Sean PERTWEE.
Hello.
Welcome back to another edition of Fake News with Sean and David.
Yeah.
Because one
funny.
thing that I've never had before, ever, I do a little bit of research before I do these panels, but I've never had the reaction when I ask the question, hey, you did this and that, and isn't that awesome? And you're like, no.
It would have been great, yeah. I would have loved to do this.
What a story, Mark, but not a true one. But this is something I think when you're in the spotlight and when you're an actor, I think there are many people who do fabricate stories and tell fake news to sell articles, to sell magazines. Do you remember the kind of most what the fuck thing that you ever read about yourself that was just simply not true?
Yeah, apparently I attacked lots of old people in Woolwich after a punk gig back in the day, and I attacked them with chicken's feet, and I pushed them in the street.
You just don't remember that.
I just don't remember it. No, it never happened.
I can't think of anything. There were some.
Yesterday was pretty good though.
Yes, yeah, that I did cabaret.
Cabaret apparently.
Love to do cabaret. Thanks, Nina.
No problem.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer. I'm sorry.
No worries. But then let's start with things that.
Why don't you guys cook up some articles? All right. Yeah. Let's see. What can I do? What am I capable of? I'm curious.
But you guys can start cooking up questions, because there is once again the microphone in the middle of the aisle that says, I'll want you to come and ask questions. Pun alert. Wenn jemand eine Frage an David und Sean hat, bitte zum Mikrofon gehen, einfach Fragen stellen.
Oh.
Yes, please.
I know.
Hold it right there.
Stop.
I think I know your question.
You know it? Really?
Yeah, I do. I think I get a sense from looking at you.
Okay.
I feel like Sean, I'm going to implant the question into your brain. All right, you ready?
Yep.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right, ready? Say it at the same time.
If
you
were
a superhero, who would it be?
Oh, okay. It's close.
How did we do?
What do you say?
Really?
Ask me.
He's like, so? I'm not impressed. What's the
That's
answer?
right, actually. What's the answer? I don't know.
Right.
You know, I didn't even think about it, honestly.
I did. I did. There's a comic I don't think that any of you guys would have seen called 2000 AD, which is really popular in our country, in the United Kingdom. And there's a character called Rogue Trooper. There was another one called Judge Dredd, who you might have seen. They've made a couple of movies about him. So it was actually in that comic, and there was a character called Martial Law, which was the only English sort of superhero, and he was a real.
His name was Martial Law.
Yeah, Martial Law. Yeah.
Okay.
That's his name.
It was kind of it's really dark.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, never heard of him.
I never heard of it.
I would be Sinestro.
Sinestro.
I know he's a villain, but I played Injustice a lot. Any Injustice fans here?
Yeah, sure.
Nice. I got like a clap and a half. I used to love Injustice. I used to play it all the time, and I loved playing as Sinestro because he would form buildings out of his ring and then just smack people on the head with them. And I thought that was awesome.
He was so annoying, man.
So annoying, yeah.
All right, nice. Thanks.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. Sorry we didn't let you ask your question.
But
we're going to guess everyone's question, by the way. So it doesn't matter what you come up to the mic with. We're going to answer what we want to answer.
okay, challenge accepted. You're not going to guess this next question. I have one for Sean, because I always like to talk about projects that rarely get spotlighted, that rarely get asked about. And I found a film in your IMDb that hopefully really exists this time. That's from 1993, from a very famed director called Michael Winner, who did the Death Wish movies with Charles Bronson. And you starred alongside David McCallum, awesome ducky from Navy CIS, in a very mean-spirited film called Dirty Weekend, where the BDFC originally refused the classification for video release, so the film is, to this date, available only in censored form in the UK. What can you tell us about that project?
What are you hiding, Sean?
Yeah,
What are you hiding?
Thank you very much for that. Now, to be honest, I think it probably was censored because it's not very good. I've done a few of those, actually. I've done a few pretty poor films. No, to be honest, it's Michael Winner should never speak ill of the past, but it was slightly misogynistical, to be honest. It was a very risque book, and it wasn't particularly well done. It was not a pleasant movie towards women. So that's probably why it's been censored. I'm surprised it's still out there, really. But again, it was because it was such a notorious book and such a good book. That they had some brilliant actors like Rufus Sewell, who was starting. A lot of really cool actors were in it. So we were hoping it was going to be good, but it didn't turn out so good.
And David, you did a very, very amazing TV show called Touch, alongside Kiefer Sutherland, where you were awarded the Young Artist Award 2013 in the category of Best Main Actor in a TV Show, and you played a autistic kid. How do you prepare for such an impactful role?
Honestly, I was 10 years old, so I did watch videos. My character, for those who haven't seen it, was originally started as autistic, mute, and really didn't like to be touched. So my character would freak out any time that I was touched. That's why it was called Touched, for if you were paying attention. Yeah, see, he got it. And I kind of had these like special powers, right, where I would see the future in numbers, and I would give my dad, who was played by Kiefer Sutherland, kind of clues to like connect different people in the world to save someone's life and make someone's day through these numbers. And they changed it in season 2 so that I wasn't autistic. I was just kind of like living on some higher plane. But I didn't get, again, I was 10 years old. I watched some videos of autistic children and got a little inspiration from that. But honestly, I just kind of, gave my instinctual interpretation at the beginning, and then I got the part, so I just kept doing that. And we had a great director of the pilot, Francis Lawrence, who directed a bunch of the Hunger Games movies, and he really helped me with small things. So, like, for example, one of the things that we worked on that we kind of figured out in our workshops was that I would never bend my arms. My arms would be completely straight, so I kind of walk. I was looking for a reason to stand up in this panel, and just found I would kind of like walk like this, and then it would kind of get funny because whenever I ran, I would like run like this. And it was kind of fun to do. And I'd also have I would always wear long sleeve shirts, and they'd put like a hole right here so that I could like stick my thumb through it. And I'd always have a marble in there, like literally every scene, the whole 2 seasons. I'd always have a marble, and I'd be like fidgeting with the marble the whole time. So there's like little things like that you never even saw on screen that helped a ton. And it was all really came from Francis Lawrence. He's obviously very talented. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, you must see it, actually, because he's absolutely remarkable in it. He really is, genuinely.
Thank you.
How often did you think, okay, let's try not to piss off Jack Bauer? I do not want to see what happens when I piss off Jack Bauer.
It happened a couple times. It wasn't fun.
It did badly.
Yeah. No, he was so sweet. Yeah. He was so sweet. When we were shooting the pilot, there's just a funny memory of mine. I was 10, but I could read, and I could understand. So I read the scenes. I never had any lines because my character was mute. But I always knew what I was kind of supposed to do and what we were going to be shooting that day. But Francis Lawrence would always, I guess because I was a child, he would always come up to me and at the beginning of the day and always kind of like very slowly and articulately kind of tell me, all right, this is what we're going to do today. You're going to walk from here to here, and then when he does that, you're going to climb down there, you're going to look over there, and it would always kind of lay it out. And I got spoiled, so when we got picked up and we came back to shoot the series, I remember the first I just didn't even read what we were shooting because I thought the director was going to just like tell me exactly what to do, and I was supposed to do something and Kiefer got quite mad at me, and he was like, you're supposed to write on my hand here at this point, and I'll never forget it. Now I will never go into shooting something without reading it first, which I guess is pretty basic. A lesson that I should have known.
Do you guys have any more questions for Sean and David? Please join us at the microphone. Yes, there is someone coming.
So David, you've been a teenager when making Gotham. How can we imagine that a teenager is producing TV series and on the other hand also has to go to school? I mean, I suppose it was private tutoring, but actually it's like a double effort. You said you went on to college. Was it that in breaks you had a test and then said, hey Sean, what's the square root of 9?
Sean, what is the square root of 9?
Oh, stop it. Can I interject at this point, because we'd be doing some quite sort of emotional, heavy scenes, and we spent, as you know, most of our time together on set. And we'd be in the throes of some really dark stuff, and he'd nip off and study quantum physics and come back and be absolutely brilliant on set. It's actually vaguely irritating because he's very good at everything. You know, so seriously, it was amazing. You were tutoring upstairs. I think you used to have. You should answer this really, shouldn't you?
Yeah, I had a studio teacher. I was going to school, so we shot the show in New York. I was still enrolled in school in LA, and then whenever I'd have like a week-long break or I wasn't in an episode, which happened here and there, I would fly home to LA and I would just pop right back into school. And then when I was in New York, there's a bunch of child labor laws, so I would have to do an average of 3 hours of school a day. In 20-minute chunks, and there's a bunch of rules as to how exactly that works. And basically, whenever they were turning the cameras around, and there would be more than 20 minutes, in between setups, they'd rush me off upstairs, and I would, read Shakespeare or do calculus or whatever it was with my studio teacher, who was great, and I would just do my school's curriculum, and. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't inventing the wheel with this. Sean's making me sound like I was like some kind of, I figured it out. I could do both. Like there's like laws for all of this. But
I thought what was really cute though I thought it was lovely that your classmates, they used to spin the computer around.
Oh yeah.
And it was really beautiful. Like all his classmates at actual physical school, they'd have a screen there, and David would be sitting there like that.
Yeah, at my school there was like the computer guy wanted to just be kind of like be cutting edge and so he had like a stand that he would put in the classroom with an iPad, and I'd basically be FaceTiming onto it, and then I could like touch a button and the iPad would like move, so I could like look around the class, and it was pretty freaky. But the one kind of problem with it is that every time I moved, it would make a really loud noise, so everyone in the class would like look at me, and I felt very self-conscious. We stopped using that after a couple days.
Let me guess, you moved very often.
Yeah. I was fidgety. And also it was like blurry. I could never like read the board. I was like, why am I doing this? This is just so that you guys can look cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's add to something that you said before of the director of Touch. Something that I always wonder about is, who are your favorite directors to work with in general, and why?
There you go.
You go first. I'm curious your answer.
There's so many. We were really sort of blessed on Gotham, but I work with. It's hard to say. Each director has a different process, and that's what's exciting about our job. We get to experience people's other methods, and their sort of pentameter and their rhythm. So that's what makes our job interesting. So I have many favorite directors.
Yeah, I mean, it is really hard to say, especially on Gotham. We did 100 episodes. Almost every single one of those episodes was directed by a different director. We'd have some directors that came back, but everybody had their own process. There was one director, Mark Tonderai, who I'm sure you remember, who had a very interesting thing that he did. He would send us a playlist of kind of just like vibes that he saw the scene as, and he would like kind of ask us to listen to a specific song before we shot each scene, which I found really interesting.
Really cool.
Yeah, I found it really cool. And yeah, every director has their own thing that they focus on. You know, some directors are really involved in the acting and in the character. Some like leave it all up to you, and they're focused on the lighting and the angles. And yeah, I mean, the way I always think about a director is a director really doesn't have a specific job. You know, like in theory, if everybody could magically kind of be unified in a vision, there doesn't need to be a director. That's what the director does. He kind of like leads the ship. He's the captain. He tells everybody else what to do. And so because the director is overseeing so many different departments, literally all the departments, you know, it's just natural that each director is going to emphasize it. You know, some directors are going to be really into the production design. Some directors are going to be really into the, you know, I don't know, whatever it is. But everyone kind of has a different emphasis, and it's always interesting to see how different people work.
Yeah, and Danny Cannon, who's a brilliant showrunner who developed the show with Bruno Heller, he gave it the style and the way that it was shot, like low tracking angles, and the other directors came in and followed that style. In fact, he's like a trendsetter. He's done a myriad of shows, hasn't he, that he's sort of given them their own look. NCSI, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, NCSI, big shows like that. So he really is the most remarkable man because he can literally do everything, because his father was a standby props master, so he learned doing that. He learned focus pulling, lighting. So on set he's this like rocket because he knows about every element of it, which he can do, you know. He even designed like Fish Mooney's fish logo for her nightclub on a napkin because they couldn't design it. He said, "Oh, just do this," and I looked at it, it was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, he's an amazing guy.
Cool.
Hi. The Batman universe is very big with very much movies from Burton or Christopher Nolan. You see it, and when yes, what is your favorite movie from the...
Oh.
It's obviously a hard question because they're all great. I like the Val Kilmer movies, and I really think, I mean, I hate to say this because I think it's the most probably trite answer, but it's just my first exposure to Batman. It'll always be probably the most significant to me is like the Christian Bale movies.
Nolan, yeah.
They're awesome. I mean, I don't need to expand on that. I know you guys know that.
But yeah, it's a really interesting question. We've not sort of been asked this before, but that's what I love about Batman, was that it moves with the time. Sort of every generation has their own iteration and their own mindset of how they see Gotham, and I think that's one of the big draws for that as a genre. You know what I mean? That it moves with the time as well. You know.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. And for Sean, there is one director you worked with a couple of times, Paul W.S. Anderson, and in 1997 you made the movie Event Horizon, a movie that was originally rated NC-17 for the explicit violence and then had to be trimmed massively, especially that scene in hell is like, I think 5% of it really exists. There was, funny thing, they found a couple of scenes later in salt mines of all places and managed to restore a couple of fragments, however in terrible quality because the material has deteriorated. So what I would like to ask you as a fan of horror, especially explicit horror movies, is do you remember things that you shot, that you did, that we never got to see and probably never will from this movie?
With Event Horizon?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a second unit. I mean, it's quite a well-known story. It's kind of become a culty movie. That they had adult entertainers, adult porn stars, basically, to do this moment when they all go crazy and they kill each other and everything like that. And it all got rather sort of fruity on set. And the studio saw the footage and panicked because there was sex happening and things like that. The second assistant director was fired. But the footage went missing, and Paul recently, I think it was the 25th anniversary of the movie or something, tried to reinstall it, do like a redux like they did with Apocalypse Now, because it is quite a special movie, and they literally can't find the footage. So we feel that the studio burnt it, but it was really naughty. Yeah, allegedly.
Allegedly. Does anybody else have a question for Sean and David? Yes, I see someone moving towards the mic.
Poison
Please.
Ivy Pepper.
Hi.
Hey.
I have two questions, if that's fair, for two people. And since the marvelous set design has already been mentioned, I want to ask which one of your other roles would benefit most from having a butler like Alfred Pennyworth on the side? And the second one is, if you had Bruce Wayne's wealth, what would you do? How would you change? How would the world change?
So I did a movie recently that's not out yet. It's at film festivals right now, where I basically am a drug addict because I can see dead people that no one else can see, and they're trying to kill me all the time. He would benefit from having a butler a lot because that would be great for him. We should get on that. And if I had Bruce Wayne's money, I would give it all to charity. I'd give it all to Sean.
Thank you very much. I'm out of here. I think the myriad of the cast could have done with someone as sort of stabilizing influence. Having said that, Alfred wasn't particularly stable himself, really. But I think definitely Oswald Cobblepot, really, he could have done with us like a bit more of a backbone and a bit more of support and love. And same with David. It's a difficult one with the money, isn't it? Really, definitely give it to a charity. Definitely. Yeah. That's a good question, though. Thank you.
I'd get a couple houses first, though, to be clear. Just a couple.
And some rims.
Just a few. Just so I can have a couple parties or whatever.
Thank you.
Most of it, charity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Something that I always like to ask and always wonder is, do you watch the episodes once they're finished? Because most actors I've had here on stage say they don't. And I would like to know whether you do it and why.
No, we used to do it. I used to do it because I like cooking. And David used to come around, and we used to... They'd never really been done before. I thought we were going to get in trouble for it, actually. We used to do like live tweeting, which was kind of rock and roll in those days, wasn't it, really? We used to do live tweeting when we were watching the episodes, because we had a huge development crew that were based in Los Angeles. The writing room was based in Los Angeles, so we never saw rushes, we were never allowed to, not that we wanted to. And we literally were extremely excited to actually watch the episode live. And we sort of started a thing, didn't we, where people started interacting with us when we were watching it, which was pretty dope, really. So yeah, we did watch it, and it was really appreciated by the fan base, actually. In fact, the head of publicity came to me one day, and I thought I was really going to get in trouble, because you're not supposed to take photographs on set, of which I took loads, normally of him. But they said, look, whatever you're doing, can you just carry on doing it? Because social media was relatively new when we started. So we were posting pictures and backstage stuff, which I think always goes down quite well, really.
Yeah. Do people still live tweet? Is that a thing?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, we were
Died with our
cool
show.
for that.
Yeah.
I remember when we would decide if we were live tweeting, we were like, yeah, we're live tweeting. No big deal.
But if there is one thing about the show that you could change, what would it be? You have the power to change one thing. Does anything spring to mind?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'd like to have happened really was, we answered this yesterday in a kind of way, is that I wish we were given a little more time to embody the characters that we'd been developing for 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. So we actually had an opportunity to spend time with Bruce as Batman, and with Alfred, and with the rest of the characters. I think that we sort of deserved that. But it was an honor anyway, developing, giving people another look at those characters to begin with, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would have been cool to have the Joker on as like proper Joker too. Mm. We got like 99% there. Mm-hmm. I don't know what you guys think. But I don't know, I'm pretty happy with the show. I think we did good.
Yeah, and especially when I see the huge sets, all the gadgets, all the beautiful things, what are your first thoughts when you go on set and you see the place, the props, the buildings, what has been created for the show. What were your first thoughts when you walked on the set?
I think a bit of pee came out, actually, to be honest, because I walked onto the set and it was the most, especially the JCPD, it was just the most extraordinary thing. It was literally the size of this room. I mean, it was girders and steel, and you suddenly realize we were stepping into the world of Gotham, and it was quite terrifying, actually, to be honest, with the quality of the design and the costume design and the level of the artistry and the talent that was involved. It was kind of a bit scary, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, the attention to detail on like the GCPD set and the Wayne Manor set is just incredible. Like all of those books that you see are real books. You could like pull them off the wall or fall apart in your hands because they're that old. And then if, like on the GCPD set, you would see like on people's desks like fake pictures of like a cop with his family and like a full bio. Just like, and it was, yeah, like Sean said, the GCPD set was literally the size of this room. It was like 3 stories. You go into back rooms and the interrogation rooms are like all actually there. Just incredible. Just incredible. And it, yeah, and like Sean, I mean, I'm just saying everything he said. I do that a lot. But it definitely made you want to step up your game because you're like, all right, if people are going to be working that hard on the desks, then, you know, I have to do my part. And it was inspiring for sure.
David, you said yesterday when you were asked about how the character developed, and you said, well, the script kind of helped, which also goes for my next question, because something that's always different with every actor I've ever talked to is how people prepare for their role. So yes, the script kind of helps, obviously. But I've read the story about the movie Incarnate that you did with Aaron Eckhart, who went a little, let's say, method acting in preparation. And it kind of reminds me of the story that Sean told about the chicken legs, because he played a wheelchair-bound, mentally ill Vietnam veteran, and he prepared for his role by actually going to the beach, sitting there and yelling at people, which is like, what? But
I don't know if I remember that.
I don't know, the IMDb obviously does, or, you know, the one who fabricated this info for the IMDb.
Yeah.
But how do you do it? How do you prepare for the role? Do you have any special setups or routines, especially to learn your lines?
I pace. It's not a very interesting one, but I just pace. I cannot learn lines without walking around a small room for hours. And that's why I can't be around people when I'm like getting ready for a scene, because I need to say the words out loud. I need to like practice them coming out of my mouth. Yeah, it's not, I don't know, I don't have a very interesting... One of the things that I saw Matthew McConaughey say this very recently, and he basically said, I like to read a scene right after a jog, right after a barbecue with my family, right after I go to church, right after I wake up in the morning, right before I go to bed at night, in all these different mind headspaces, because I'm going to get different ideas and I'm going to interpret the scene differently. And then I kind of just like, once I can interpret it in a bunch of different ways, then I kind of pick my favorite one. And I like that. I think preparing really just takes imagination and time. And whatever is going to spark your imagination best, then you know yourself best. And yeah, for me, it's just kind of similar to that. I just like to read it in different settings, and I like to memorize the lines first before I make any choices about what I'm going to do in the scene. And then and at the end of the day, you prepare for weeks, for hours, for, I don't know, days, whatever, months, for whatever it is, and then when it's time to shoot, you let it all go, and you live in the moment.
Yeah, invariably it changes, because you can rehearse and talk to yourself in the mirror, pace around a room, and then you get on set and something completely different happens, and you never really know. That's the other cool thing about our job, isn't it? You know?
You got to stay on your toes. You got to be able to be spontaneous, and you gotta be able to react to what's really around you. It's like 90% of the job, I would say.
Yeah. Good.
Bitteschön.
First of all, thank you for being here, Sean and David.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Dennis.
I have a question for you both. And you played Alfred and Puss over a few years. And do you have any characteristics you like as much you keep after you finish the show?
Oh.
I kept wondering who killed my parents, and then I just remembered. Okay, they're okay.
Oh.
Just be eating soup, and I gotta find Matches Malone. No, fine. Fine. I missed turtlenecks. My neck was cold all the time.
No, I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I don't have a good answer to this.
I don't have an answer to that one, really. It's quite a strange one. Characteristic that we took away from the show.
Yeah, it is a good question. It's happened to me before in other roles. On Touch, I had very specific kind of mannerisms, and I would rock all the time on the show. And I literally found myself doing that after the show ended, like just to make myself more comfortable. I would just, like, whenever I was anxious, I would just find myself rocking, and my mom would be like, "You have to stop that," because that, yeah. But not really on Gotham, not that I can remember.
Yeah, hopefully I stopped hitting children, you know what I mean, afterwards. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question,
you.
Dennis.
Another thing for Sean, you're not only acting in movies and TV shows, you have also been a voice actor for video games, like Colonel Hacker in Killzone, Colonel Radek in Killzone 2, Peter Chamberlain in Assassin's Creed 4. What kind of draws you to these projects, and how different is it for you as an actor to do only voice acting apart from being able to show your face and your body as well?
I started doing voice work on games primarily because I used to play them really badly. You know, you play online and get shot in the face by a 12-year-old within 30 seconds. It's just ridiculous. But I used to play like Killzone and things like that because, I did jobs like Killzone because working with people like Brian Cox. The first one was just voice. Second one was some motion capture. I found the whole process fascinating as being a slight gamer. But it's come on leaps and bounds. It's a very different industry now. It's bigger probably, I think, than the film industry in many respects. So, and it's moved on. I haven't done one of those big games now, like the Call of Duties and things like that, which are extraordinary now. You know, the animation and the motion capture that they do. So yeah, it's just another string to the bow. It's a great thing about our job. You get different elements to our business that you can try.
But you don't play yourself because you're too afraid that David is going to kick your ass on Injustice.
No, but I'll tell you what did happen on Killzone. I couldn't kill myself. My son could. My son could kill me. I couldn't kill myself for some reason because I kept disappearing. But Freddie had no problem. My son had no problem killing me dead. You know.
Another tidbit I read that is hopefully true was when you did Dog Soldiers. There was a scene where you asked Kevin McKidd to knock you out, and he kind of misjudged the distance a little bit and actually hit you, but you supposedly didn't notice that you were hit because you were drunk.
Yeah, we were experimenting with alcohol. Don't try this at home, kids, but no, because the film was going really well, and I spoke to the director and I said, well, he's supposed to be turning into a werewolf, and he's supposed to be on this huge amount of morphine, and he's drunk 3 bottles of scotch. So I said, should we try drinking some whiskey? So Neil said, yeah, let's go for it. But apparently I became really annoying, and Kevin McKidd was supposed to knock me out, and I go, not like that, you pussy, knock me out. And he, by mistake, apparently, broke my nose. And the worst thing was I didn't actually feel it, and claret, blood, went flying out and went straight off the set to where all the standby props guys were standing, and they all went like that, and I thought it was terribly funny. And then afterwards I suddenly realised the weird thing was actually going to the premiere, seeing the film, and not actually remembering shooting the scene.
Crazy.
So, yeah, it was good.
By the way, do you remember that some of the corpses that were hanging around in the basement were props originally built for Event Horizon?
Yeah, no, I know, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen my head on a couple of sets. So they sell they rent the body parts out. It's quite strange.
Does anybody from the audience have another question for David and Sean? Please, the mic and the stage are yours. Not yet. So let's continue basically with what do both of you have in store for the next couple of months, couple of years? Anything you are able to announce already? Some projects? Maybe you're going to work together again on something.
We will. I don't know on what yet, but it'll happen.
It's going to happen.
We're taking ideas, by the way.
No, for upcoming projects, I know Dog Soldiers 2 is in development.
I did a series called Silent Witness last year, and they asked me back. I've just done that, and then I've got a series that we shot a while ago. They've just changed the name for Paramount, which is quite good. I've seen it. It was called Black Cab, about an obsessive taxi driver that gets obsessed with my character, who's a late-night radio DJ. It's now called Stalker, and it should be coming out quite soon in our country. So it'll be on Paramount Plus, I think, called Stalker. And then I'm shooting a series right now called Mandrake, which is about the phone hacking scandal that has everybody you could hope to be in it, like David Tennant and David Morrissey and Toby Jones. Everyone's in it. And it's about the real court case about the phone hacking scandal in our country. So I finished that next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, I have a movie that's at film festivals right now. Hopefully we'll get some distribution soon, called Island Between Tides. It's like kind of a fantasy horror movie-ish. Donald Logue, who played Harvey Bullock, is in it as well.
Wow.
And I just did a short film with one of my friends who directed it. I wrote it with him, and I acted in it as well, and it's called Money Talks. It takes place in New York in 1981, and it follows on a $100 bill as it travels through the city and meets different characters. We had a lot of fun doing it. We just shot it about a month ago, and hopefully it'll be out soon. And I think I mentioned this yesterday. I had another short film that I did a couple years ago that was just picked up by Sony Pictures. It's on YouTube. You guys check it out. Called Nothing Except Everything. It's only 12 minutes. And more to come.
When you're doing movies or TV shows, what is it that you think is the most fun? The scenes that you are the most happy about when you say, this is on the shooting schedule today. Yes.
Kissing scenes. Kidding.
I love doing, especially in Gotham, I love doing the fight scenes. That's such fun. And we got to have fights together for some reason. We fought a lot. We fought each other. He stabbed me about 4 times. But we had a fantastic stunt team that were nominated a couple of times for various awards. And we were allowed to do a lot of our stunts, which was a great experience. So I do enjoy the physical element. I enjoy it all, really. Just working is just a privilege. But I especially enjoy the physical stuff. I think I just get off on it. I don't know why.
Amazing. So thank you so much for joining us. One very quick thing for the audience. We're working together this year with the wonderful STAR charity, which supports the cancer research for kids. And both David and Sean have provided portrait photos, signed portraits, that you can win in a raffle at the end of today's con. If you want to enter for a chance to win these portraits, want to support the child cancer research, please go to the STAR charity tombola auction table to get a chance to do that. So thank you guys so much for coming to Austria Comic Con 2024, and thank you so much, David and Sean.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.